We have to think a little bit different than 20-30 years ago. If I have here the PV varieties, it isn't important to spray it, I don't know, 7-9 times. But
did you stop counting already how many trees you have planted in your life? Or
calcium and magnesium in our soil. My second son made his first wine when he was 9 years old. So. One wine from 4 different barrels, very quickly. The school is one thing, and the experience is second thing. So I want him to be minimum of 1-2 harvest somewhere abroad. You can see here the plantation from this year. You can see 2 parts of plantation, and you can see here one field which is without plantation, and this is the, how to say it, it is a communication way from the forest to another part of the forest or old fruit plant. So for me it is very important to have it here for the biodiversity.
all right, Jan. Then I have to say now that's probably the beginning of the interview at the end, but I have to say thank you for a great afternoon.
Thank very you spontaneously. For having you here. Thank you.
But we did everything. You showed me your vineyards, which was beautiful. You showed me your cellar. We had a little bit of like beautiful barrel tasting, a lot of stuff that people will see here and be part of during this interview. It was very inspiring to me actually to hear your perspective, because as I told you earlier, when I came to this part of Moravia here, we are in Němčičky, my first impression was, wow, a lot of small plots of vineyards, a lot of forests, a lot of biodiversity, a very healthy ecosystem. And then I came to you here and I know a little bit about how you make wine. I think you stand really in for what you can experience here in Němčičky, right? Because that is your biggest ambition, as I understood it actually from today, is keeping this ecosystem alive.
Yeah. I'm very happy that I have the opportunity to work, to make a wine, to take care of the vineyard here in this village, because as I told you, the Němčičky village was or is still named like a village of 9 valleys. We have the relief is good for planting the vineyards and not good for any other agriculture. So we have the biodiversity here, or planting everything different than vineyard. Between the vineyard is a natural thing here. So not now, because it is fashion to do it like that, but 100-200 years ago, because it was normal to plant 5 rows of vineyard and 1 row of fruit tree and so on. So to make some shadow, because yes, we need sun, but not so much sun. So nowadays the sun here is enough for us, or too much. So we have to think a little bit different than 20-30 years ago.
And you go much into, I think, what we normally call for vitiforestry. You plant a lot of trees. Did you stop counting already how many trees you have planted in your life? Or
yes, I think it is more than 3,000. I think it is something around 3,200. It's a young forest, because 8 years ago somebody buy this piece of forest. He harvested it and he left it with nothing, and previous owner didn't want to do with the place something. So I bought it from him, and we planted here 3,000 plants of oak.
So that is your future barrels, or?
Yeah, I think in 120 years we will have the barrels from our forest. No, it is the young forest, but we have here another 2.5 hectares. So we have the trees which are 80-90 years old, but this is the future. But yes, I didn't plant it for the barrels. Maybe it will be some barrels in the future, but I will plant it, as I said you, for the protect the vineyard from the north wind.
Okay.
Different plants, not only oak trees, but also some fruit trees like cherries, sour cherries, some apricots, some pears. So I'm very happy that we can do it, because it is not only about biodiversity, it is also about to have a nice view from the vineyard, or to be in vineyard, to work in vineyard, and to have some little bit bigger shadow than only the vineyard is. So we need the trees, because if you work during the May, June, July in a vineyard, you have to have here the shadow for taking a rest, having a rest.
What are we starting with here?
Yes, it's of course it is Frankovka, which is variety, which is very important variety, not only in Czech Republic. It is most planted red variety in Czech Republic, but mainly here in the Modré Hory region, which is region focused on red varieties, especially in Frankovka. Frankovka is variety which needs to be very interesting, which needs a little bit higher content of calcium and magnesium in soil, and we have it here in a good quantity. And that's why we are focused on Frankovka. I didn't decide or choose this variety. I was born in Němčičky, and that's why I will plant for future only a Frankovka variety.
And to put in perspective, Frankovka is the same as Blaufränkisch in Austria, Kékfrankos in Hungary, Lemberger. Exactly.
A lot of synonym, and it is maybe more than 50 different synonyms of this variety. And this fact is because it is very important variety for Central Europe. It is not only in Hungary, 7,000 hectares, not only in Austria, something like 2,000 and something more hectares, in Germany, Slovakia, Czech Republic, but also in Slovenia, Croatia. It is very, very important variety for Austrian, Hungarian monarchy in the past.
And we have it as a Blanc de Noir style here in the glass?
Yes, it is one of our Frankovka, which is like a white. We call it Bílá Frankovka. Bílá means white, and it is like a Blanc de Noir. It is from the vineyard behind me. This vineyard is not so good for producing red wines, but it is perfect vineyard, perfect exposition on soil for production of very light, very fruity style of wine. Yes, we ferment it very quickly, we bottled it very quickly, and it is very simple wine for summer drinking.
What I love about it, I mean, and this is something we talked about it at length also like in the vineyard, right? I mean, this is always this debate, is Moravia really like a cool climate region, or is it already moderate and warm climate nearly, right? It's continental, that's definitely clear. Yes, we are still fairly much like north on the like European wine landscape. And what I found striking, and you said like the last 2 years were maybe like the odd ones out, but we have 32 degrees on the day. But I think the nights here, given that we are end of June, are fairly chill and fairly cold. And you said like it's also like normal sometimes in August that the night temperature drops to 10 degrees Celsius, right? So you really work here with this like beautiful like nocturnal differences, right? This like day and night contrast where you really can preserve the acidity and the freshness in the wines. And I think we have this here in the Blanc de Noir. We had this in your barrel samples of the Frankovka earlier. Is this something you are scared of for the future? That this might not be the same in 10, 20 years?
I'm very scared, or back to 25 years ago when I started my winemaking. I was like student of University of winemaking, and I had a very small vineyard, around 500 plants of vineyard, and I was very happy. It was vintage 2000, very warm vintage in this period. It was very warm vintage, and I harvest the grapes with the potential of alcohol 13.
14, okay. Yeah.
13, and I was, wow, Frankovka, Blaufränkisch, Lemberger, with 13 degrees of alcohol. It's perfect. It's perfect vintage, very warm vintage. Nowadays, it's normal.
Yeah.
We have every year 13.5 and more if we want to have it.
Yeah.
So that's why I know that the global warming is here, and I am a little bit afraid that it will be more and more. But that's why I want to focus more and more to Blaufränkisch, to Frankovka, because as you said about the freshness, Frankovka is the variety with higher content of acids, and we need the acids. We need the acids to have the juice natural, to don't add the sugar, to don't add the acids inside. Frankovka is good variety for the future, to have it without addition of some supplements, I don't know. So I'm a little bit afraid, but we plant more and more Frankovka to be okay in 10, 20 years. So in Modré Hory region, which is a micro region of 5 villages, we are in Němčičky. Here is the city of Velké Pavlovice. Here you can see the Bořetice village. On the top is the Vrbice village, and to the left it is Kobily. 5 villages together, for which are the red varieties very important and very typical. So that's why it is called Modré Hory region, because Modré means blue, like red varieties, and Hory is like hills, blue mountains, we can say. So 5 villages together. The main variety here is the Blaufränkisch, Lemberger, Frankovka.
Written on your chest, right?
Yeah, it is. Close to my heart. Calcium and magnesium in our soil. There is one small valley, which is in the middle of the valley is the river Trkmanka, and in the right side, right bank of this Trkmanka, in which we are now, is the sandstone, rich of calcium, calcy sandstone, which is from, I don't know, 40 million years ago, from Tertiary period. And in the opposite side, in the left side of Trkmanka river, is the les, which was made, I don't know, 15 million years ago. So here the soil is more pure, and that's why we have here Sauvignon, because Sauvignon is a very wide variety and it needs pure soil to have good conditions. Němčičky village, because as I said, there was a windmill here, the only windmill in village, and as I said, it was 100 years ago, but more than some thousand years ago, there was people have here special place for having overview if some warriors, so how to say it, goes from the south or from the east. So this was a special place how to recognize if somebody is going. And there was 4,000 years ago, there was a cycle 30 meters large, and it was something like a wall protected, how to say it, the area which was protected by the wall.
But also PV, but also Cabernet Franc, so you diversify a little bit also, right, to secure yourself.
We want to try how Cabernet Franc will be in our condition. So yes, the PVs, as I said, it is good for the earning some tractor work. It is a little bit more easy for manual working in vineyards, so it is maybe economical point of view, but it is also these two varieties like Blaufränkisch Stella, Blaufränkisch Signum. is also in good quantity. I think the aroma of this too is not like a hybrid style. It is like a normal European Blaufränkisch, like a cherries notes. I can go here by the tractor, but if I have here the PV varieties, it isn't important to spray it, I don't know, 7-9 times, but we spray it maybe 1-2 times per vegetation, and it's enough for having healthy grapes.
Yeah, so really what I like talk to with many like winemakers, your most difficult sites where you have to work manual by hand.
Yes.
There the PV makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, sure.
So what do you have planted there at the moment? PV technically?
Blaufränkisch Signum, Blaufränkisch Stella.
Yeah.
This is the Austrian one here, and this is our new plantation from this year. Here it is Levitage.
Levitage, okay. Yeah.
Do you know this variety?
Yeah, I read about it.
German variety, German PV Lamberger.
Never tried it, unfortunately.
And here is Cabernet Franc.
Tell us a bit about your winery, because now we are sitting here like as by default, as we have spent half the day together. Mm-hmm. But who is Jan Stávek and who is the winery behind it?
I live in the estate or in court or in farm, we can say, which was built by my great-grandfather 120 years ago. So I am the fourth generation which produced wine in this place. And I'm very happy that my great-grandfather built it and that he was one of the biggest winemaker in our village. And the tradition of winemaking is in one family, in our family. As I told you, there was some like a period of nothing because of the communism, but after the revolution or during my studies, I restart the professional winemaking in our family to continue with the traditional winemaking in our family. So it is nowadays 25 years of new period of winemaking in our family or in this place. And nowadays we have 11 hectares of vineyard, which is in organically way farming, and we are certified, and we move to biodynamic slowly, but still move.
Wonderful. You have rosé for us, right? And you told me about this rosé already when we were outside.
We have
this is from
try it.
Fairly old wines, right?
Yeah.
Is that 50 years? Or
52 years old vineyards.
Okay.
From the best vineyard Bočky, and this is from Frankovka, of course, but there is also some percentage of sunflower and variety, but not so much.
Given some color and some structure to it.
And we have old wines, so it means very good material, good grapes. So we make this wine, this rosé, like a very serious wine with longer potential. That's why we have a longer skin contact, longer maceration of the skin before the fermentation. And after the pressing of juice, it goes normally to the oak barrels to have the fermentation in the barrels inside. And also the maturing of the wine is 1 year in oak barrel on the lees.
Okay.
It means that the character of this wine is not like a swimming pool rosé or summer rosé, but we can say that the Rosé Bočky is a rosé for all year drinking.
It's a serious wine. It's you know, I always like to describe it like this. When you have serious rosé, we always, think about what people eat for New Year's Eve, right? You make like some nice 5-course dinner for your friends, and then you want to put, let's say, scallops or some seafood on the second course. What is the problem with having like a nice, well-structured rosé with some scallops for New Year's Eve? And people think it's like, it's winter, I cannot serve a rosé. Of course you can.
You can. This style of rosé. everybody has rosé like a very light, very pale, very like a Provence style, which is very light in alcohol and very thin in the taste. But this one is very structured.
What this is for me, this is like concentrated blood oranges. It's amazing. And this is like a little bit hyper here. It's fresh, acidic, very nice, appealing nose, a little bit reductive, or is it like just
it
from
could
the
be
oak?
From the east, yes, because it stayed 1 year on the list in the barrel, so it could be the reductive tones could be from that. But to make you sure, we don't have any orange trees in Moravia, so it's only from grapes. This one.
It's only from grapes. Good, thank you for clarifying that.
Come in, please.
Okay, that's a real cellar.
I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to can mature here our wines. It is not belong to our family, but I rent the cellar from the owner, and we have here, you can see the barrels which are very old. Some of them used my great grandfather. They are 50, 70, 90 years old. And in the opposite side, you can see the barrique barrels, which are pretty new. All of the barrique barrels are from French oak, from French barrel makers. So we will taste now one wine from 4 different barrels, very quickly. Because I need to know the differences between the barrels, and as it is single vineyard wine, I don't want to produce too much bottles. I want to make it a little bit more exclusive. And now we can compare the same wine from 3 barrels, and the barrels are from same producer, François Frères from Burgundy. But it is the different drying of the wood. So it is normal barrel, name exclusive, and rare. It means that it is dried, the wood for the normal barrel is dried 12 months. In the case of exclusive, it's 2 years, and in the case of rare, it's 3 years, drying on the sun.
And a little bit like looking out of the box. Czech wine has a little bit a problem, I want to say, and that is that people actually don't really know about Czech Republic as a winemaking country. I mean, you have 17,000 hectares, you have a very long-standing history. Communism, did its like contribution to making it difficult for you. So people speak of a fairly new, spirited wine country with actually like very, very deep roots in history. But how do we get more Czech wine out of the world? Because we also, like said earlier, I think like the Czech winemaker that probably is best known at the moment is Jan Stávek outside of Czech Republic, because he placed himself very well in the natural wine scene. But what about these more like traditional, very well-working producers like yourself or like your colleagues here? How do we get you out of the country? What is the solution? Do you have any solution?
Yes, I have. I think that we have to focus on 1 or 2, 3, not more varieties, which are very typical for Czech Republic. And in my case, it is Frankovka, of course, but the second variety, which is also very good in Czech Republic, is Welsh Riesling, which is very, very nice in Mikulovská region, close to Mikulov, close to Pálava hills. So it is always the same story in each region, is to focus on one style of wine, like in Burgundy Pinot Noir, or in Reichshessen-Pfalz, it's Riesling, and so on. To do also the better marketing, because if we produce 20, 30, 40 different varieties in Moravia, it is not easy, and it is not good to market them all. I think that if we want to go to the export with something, it must be wine which is very important here in Czech Republic. People in Czech Republic love it. It means that it is good variety for the place, if the inhabitants here love it. And the wine have to be here in good quantity. It is Frankovka, the most planted variety in Czech Republic. It is Welsh Riesling, which is also the most white, most planted variety in Czech Republic. And we are good in these two varieties. So for the future, I think these two varieties, or together maybe with Pálava variety, which is variety which was breeded in Czech Republic, could be this three the best variety for export. I think it must be we have to focus on small quantity of varieties.
I like that, and wrap it up a little bit. I like to ask winemakers always about the personal vision at the end. Where are you in 5 years? You have 2 kids at the moment, right?
3 kids.
3 kids,
together,
okay.
Yes.
How old is the oldest?
Yes, the sons are 14 and 12 years.
So in 5 years he makes his first vintage, right?
No, my second son made his first wine when he was 9 years old. So. It was 150 liters glass ballon. So I think that the future is here. But at first he have to go to study in Klosterneuburg to Austria. It is his plan to go to study close to Vienna. And
I can understand. It's a beautiful city. I mean,
yeah, it is. Also, me and he love it. So we will see how it will be in future. But yes, here can be some future, but it is not 5 years. It is maybe 10 years, because the school is one thing, and the experience is second thing. So I want him to be minimum of 1-2 harvest somewhere abroad. If it will be in Austria or California or Australia, it doesn't matter. But to have better language and also the pracs from abroad is very important. It's good, not very important, but it is good to be better winemaker. I think that I am young. I am only 45 years old, so I can produce the wine next 20 years. So it's okay. My children can go abroad to have some pracs in next 5, 10, 15 years, and I will be very happy if we want to come back to Němčičky to continue.
Yes, and it is a generational project, right? And I mean, when we walked your vineyards earlier, and you explained me how you think about your vineyard as an ecosystem, I could feel also like so much of your personal motivation to leave those like soils that you work with maybe in a better condition than you found them. And I think this is like really, if we think about nature and what we do with nature like this, and 3,200 trees that you planted, I think this is a great thing, like to spread like a little bit like some positive energy and hope, you know, at the end of such a conversation, because everybody can always like point out, oh, global warming and everything is bad and the market is bad and everything is going down and so on. But let's just like focus.
We have to be prepared, yes. We know that there are some problems, we can be afraid about something, but we want to, it is good to have some education, because I studied university in my master's degree and also doctorate degree, and I have a lot of knowledges how to be prepared for something. So I think it is good, but also good is to have some experiences in 25 years. I'm not sure if it is enough, because each year is something new in a vineyard, in a forest, and everywhere. Yes, it is still about learning, about finding new knowledges from the research and so on. Yes.
Jan, thank you so much for your time today and showing me around and your insights into Czech winemaking into Moravia. And it was really, really a big pleasure to be here so spontaneously and sweat with you in the heat and freeze in the cold of the cellar. Thank you for the tasting samples. And I'm definitely seeing you around somewhere at some trade fairs in the future. But thank you very much for your time. Highly appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers.